For 33 years, I was in a system that didn't know how to help an individual that had endured so much abuse. I was let down by society, by doctors, law enforcement, social workers, and psychiatrists.
Starting at the age of 5, Amy Gurnas was sexually abused by a friend of the family.
I spent the first half of my life trying not to die at my abuser's hand. I spent the second half of my life trying not to die by my own hand. I've had a long, difficult struggle of 33 years, and it's only been in the last 5 years that I've really began to thrive.
A lot has changed since Amy had to endure so much pain. There are now child advocacy centers like Maddie's Place that make a child feel safe when the world around them is crumbling. Maddie's Place provides a single child-friendly environment in which a child who has been abused can receive medical and mental health services.
The building itself will be a house, so it will look like a home instead of an institution. So when they walk in the door, there will be things that are similar to being in a schoolroom. There will be art on the door, there will be toys.
There are more than 700 child advocacy centers in the United States, with only 3 in Minnesota. And now a Winona task force including county attorneys, the Sheriff's Department, the Winona Police Department, and the Winona Public Schools is seeking funding for a child advocacy center, Maddie's Place in Winona.
Statistics have been coming out and people have been more, interested in having regional child advocacy centers in each of the states. So we are very fortunate that we could start a child advocacy center here in Minnesota, in southern Minnesota.
The closest child advocacy center is located in Minneapolis, so access to services for maltreated children and their families is extremely difficult. A child advocacy center in Winona will get abused children and their families the help they need quickly. Child advocacy centers improve the delivery of mental and medical care to abused and neglected children, increase the chances of conviction, and are cost-effective.
Research is pretty clear that children who are serviced through a Children's Advocacy Center, they're much more likely to have their allegation come to court, they're much more likely to have a guilty plea, they're much more likely to receive better medical services and mental health services. So the research is pretty clear.
Child advocacy centers are based on a successful model that is now widely used. Maddie's Place will be a neutral facility.
We have a lot of users. We have a lot of people that want or desire that drug here in
Cocaine is the biggest drug of choice.
We let them know that we were out there watching.
Drug traffic is a problem in many communities in southeastern Minnesota. This is the Canadian Pacific Railway, which stretches from Chicago, Illinois to Seattle, Washington. It transports cargo, passengers, and illegal drugs.
If there's demand here for illegal drugs, the suppliers will come, and they do come from Milwaukee and Rockford, Illinois, and Gary, Indiana, and Chicago. They come on Amtrak and Greyhound and on Interstate 90 and poison us.
Drug use is an uncontrollable problem.
We have a lot of users. We have a lot of people that want or desire that drug here in town.
With a heavy demand for drugs in the community, the Winona Police Department is putting in countless hours to prevent some of the drug flow from taking place.
There's an awful lot of hours that the investigators need to get tracking all the information and keeping track of what's what, who's who, and any other new information that comes with it or along the way. We kind of add it to, the progress of the case. And there's an awful lot of work.
McLean says felony charges have doubled in the last several years, and the whole court process for one drug offender can take several months to a year to complete. But before the process can begin, officials need to make a case.
What happens is we seek out the drug crimes by doing control buys and using snitches and undercover officers and so on. we decided we're going to focus on in the investigation and then set up the control buys, pre-mark the money.
After the investigation has been held, a case needs to be built. But the whole process isn't something that can happen overnight. First, police need to provide enough evidence that can clearly show drug trafficking is taking place. After enough evidence is gathered, a formal complaint needs to be written up by the district attorney and served to the individual being convicted. Then, the first court hearing will take place.
If you added up all those day by days, that can get to about 4.5 months or so after the arrest before we're even done with the pretrial phase.
Even with all the hard work that is put into drug investigations, it can all become undone very quickly, as an offender can post bail and be back out on the street within a few days.
Bail in Minnesota is required. We don't hold anybody on no bail, although many other states do allow no bail holds.
Another dilemma officials face is as soon as one drug offender is convicted, another drug dealer will take their place.
Maybe we make an arrest, and it doesn't take long for somebody to replace that person. Very difficult to wipe it all out, as much as we'd like to, but, every time we turn the corner, there's somebody new popping up, so.
Even with the obstacles the Winona County District Attorney and Police Department face, they are still trying to keep the community safe. However, all this work can't be done on their own, and this is why community organizations play an important role in drug cases.
Winona State University is an institution on the cutting edge of learning. With its laptop programs and Learning for the 21st Century initiatives aimed at giving you hands-on experience outside the classroom, Winona State has developed ideas into something that helps improve your quality of education. WSU is nestled in the scenic town of Winona, Minnesota, a town right on the Mississippi River. The river has always played an important role in the town's affairs. From the local economy to the way of life in surrounding areas, the river has affected the region immensely. Now, the university is working towards incorporating the river into its learning process as well. Winona State University prides itself on this direct involvement with the river by promoting various courses and programs designed to remove students from the classroom.
Through experiential learning, such as the Environmental Campout and the University on the River program, Winona State is doing just that.
Well, the Center for Mississippi River Studies is not really a place. It's really a lot of faculty and students and staff to some extent who are doing interesting things related to the Mississippi River.
So how do I do my homework on the Mississippi River?
Well, we have the River Explorer, which is Winona State's 64-foot riverboat that we're using as a floating classroom. We've got a whole bunch of programs going on there. A lot of classes that are meeting on board the boat for a shorter or longer period of time. Some are going out for a couple 3-night camping trips to get into the backwaters of the backcountry and see some more of the river.
You see a place where there's no houses, no buildings. It's probably the National Wildlife Refuge, and people don't know that, especially students that aren't from this area. So here we are on this River Explorer going right up the middle of the refuge, and we get to see it the best way, the most intimate way to see the refuge is on the water.
This boat also hosts a variety of classes. Every department from dance and theater to sociology and biology are using the River Explorer as a tool in educating their students and taking them on the Mississippi River.
Just the sense of getting out of the classroom, you're able to go on a field trip, but you're also learning a great deal more than what you could from a textbook.
It makes it much more hands-on, and I think that's more effective, at least for my type of learning, and I know there's a lot of other people that learn like I do. And our class is actually Social Problems of the Upper Mississippi River, so it taught us just little things that you don't notice on the river and how it applies to